Hey, what's good, y'all? This is Elder Tenchi, and this is another episode of On the Brain. Today, man, I'm mad. You know why I'm mad? I just saw Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li. Now, the reason why I wanted to see it was because, number one, it's Street Fighter. Number two, Chun-Li is one of my favorite characters. She is one of my favorite characters till this day. And I thought, compared to what you got back in '94 with the first Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, I thought this one was going to be a better one. Because it was based off of Chun-Li, crazy fighter. It looked like they actually knew what they were doing this time. Oh man. Now, I have to admit there was a few things I actually did like about this movie. Like, for example, some of the fight scenes and the fact that they actually, gave you a little insight as to what Chun-Li's life was like as a little kid. I understood that. Fine. But the fact that her dad was working for Bison and he got captured, to help Bison take over this certain part of these slums of Bangkok in China, I'm like, okay, isn't he supposed to be a little more ruthless than that? Come on, he's like the freaking he's like a freaking mob boss. That's what he looks like. That's what he looks like. One of those corporate types. And he didn't act like Bison at all. He was too okay. How can I put this? Bison had more attitude than this guy. He had way more attitude, and he was more believable. The dude that was playing Bison in the 1994 movie, I actually admit, even though he didn't really look like Bison to me, actually acted the way I thought Bison should have been. He's an evil, sadistic dude that has no conscience. He's supposed to act like a prick. This dude acted like a prick, but he acted like one of those corporate dudes that you just want to smack. Not one of those, not one of those evil dudes that didn't really care up until the middle of the movie. But okay, another thing I actually did like about this movie was who they had playing Balrog. If you watch the Friday movies, he's known as Debo. Big, diesel, bald, strong, crazy dude with a deep voice, who's typecasted in almost every movie he's in as the same type of character. He's typecasted as the big, diesel, stereotypical black guy. But it works for him in this movie. He actually does a pretty good job. I admit that. But the story was weak. The story was weak as hell. And it just makes me mad because this is my favorite character we're talking about here. You're trying to explain her story, and there's really no story. After the first few minutes, there's really no story. It's basically training, and over-exaggerated fights. Now, I know that Street Fighter has over-exaggerated fights, but that's a video game. That's different. Okay? That's way different than where you see it in a movie theater. Not everybody after one kick has to go flying across the room, and not every time you twist somebody's arm does bones start cracking. And if that was the case, why in the world would they be able to not only still move their arms but still fight when it sounded like their bones were about to snap in half? Come on. There was some funny parts in there, and they tried to add in a little sex appeal with this one, police woman who was working for somebody that was supposed to be Charlie, and you remember that to be, I believe, Guile's brother, but they don't mention him at all. The only real Street Fighter characters you see in the movie are Vega, or Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas playing Vega, and Chun-Li, of course. I do not consider that guy to be Bison at all, and Balrog. That's it. It just, man. I think they tried to put a lot of emphasis on the action, which is why they did what they did. The over-exaggerated, beyond over-exaggerated fights in this movie are, they could have been a lot better, and the story could have had a lot more depth to it. There's really no story after the first few minutes of the movie. That's what makes me mad. But I'm happy that I went to go see it during the matinee, because at this time I wouldn't have to pay like $10 to get in. I only had to pay like $6. So, you know, that'll never be a movie I see again, and I didn't really enjoy the first Street Fighter movie. Which quote, I think one has better fighting than the other, but at least that one, the first one, had more story. You know, even though not everybody was accurate, at least that one had more story. You feel me? But other than that, I'm pissed. I am pissed off that they made my favorite character's movie. It seemed like, yo, do they even know what they're doing? Hollywood, come on. Come on. Do your homework. Do your research. Before you make a movie based off of something else, you gotta know where it's coming from, what it's about, and what it's supposed to be. That's why half the time when somebody makes a movie off a book, people say the book is better, or the movie itself sucks. Because nobody bothers to either read it or do whatever. At least with Dragon Ball, they kept the personalities of those characters in, and the idea of the journey is still there. Everything else is still there. There was only a few changes here and there, and the story is a little, more Hollywood-ish. But you know what? Shoot, I know that's going to be a lot better than Legend of Chun-Li. On top of that, Legend of Chun-Li was hardly promoted, just like Dragon Ball. But I seriously believe that Dragon Ball Evolution will be a lot better than what you call this Chun-Li movie. I already know that Dragon Ball is going to have better effects than this Chun-Li movie. If you see you've seen the trailers before, when they're shooting out fireballs, it looks like those electric balls, those things shooting out like different colors of electricity. That's what it seems like to me. They didn't even try to make it seem real, or make it seem like it could hurt you. Please. The fights were alright, over-exaggerated. The story was not really there. I'm not even fronting over the fact that some of the people didn't even look like they could act. Some of them did not act well, I would not recommend this for anybody. I know probably all of y'all are probably saying, we already knew this was going to happen. Why would you even bother watching the movie? Because I wanted to see it. Because I wanted to do a review on it. So, I wanted to see it first before I say anything. Just like I want to see Dragon Ball first before I say anything negative about it. And this is what I'm going to say about the Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li. It sucks. Royally, it sucks. Alright? Only a few scenes actually are okay. And I don't even say good. I say okay. Alright, but anyway, I am El Detenchi. That was on the brain. I'm getting back to my normal self now. Peace.